What say you, predictor?
No, I could not get a 5. 5 is too much too high. I gave him a 2 as well.
Hi, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to WicfaTV. I am the Doc, and today I have with me Predictor Paul, and we're doing a special show called By George, the West Indian player ratings for the just concluded West Indies versus Sri Lanka Test Series in Antigua. So how this works is that we have been given some ratings by Superfan on our Facebook page, the one and only George. And George has the ratings 1 to 10 for all of the players who were involved within this test series. So Predictor Paul will be telling me if he agrees or disagrees with these ratings. So let's hit the road, Predictor. So here we go. We're starting at the top of the order. Captain of the team, Craig Bradford. George gave him a 8. What say you, Predictor?
Well, I slightly off of the 8. I gave him 7.5. Reason is that he did very well in the second test, scoring 2 very valuable knocks. The reason I took off my half mark from George is that he didn't play well in the first test, and in the second innings of the second test, I think he batted a bit too slow to push the game. We needed a little higher run rate, so I give him a 7.5. But overall, is a very good performance from Craig Bradford.
What would the captaincy? Because according to George here, he was very proactive and made the changes which needed to be made at the right time. What would the captaincy?
I'm agreeing with George. I think the captaincy wasn't bad at all. I think he had some good field placements. Given the wicket, I think we did a very good job for the most part. Few other things that could have been different. For example, the declaration could be earlier, which was on Craig Bradford on both points because he was batting and he is captain. So I think the run rate could have been a little higher at that stage, especially when you're trying to push for a win, given that we had rain in the previous day, so that pulled back the amount of time we would have had, and therefore we should have decided, okay, let's give ourselves a little more time.
All right. So next in the order, Mr. Campbell, John Campbell. George has given him a 5. What say you, Paul?
5, too much, too high. To me, 5 reflects that you are bang in the middle. You're not great or you're not bad. John Campbell, I give John Campbell a 2. 2, series average of 17. He scored 68 runs. 68 runs isn't good, but still, he only scored 42 in 1 innings, and therefore 3 innings reflected 26 runs. And 17 average is even lower than his actual average. John Campbell is struggling. Yeah, he's not the same exact way, caught behind. His foot is coming down after his bat, so therefore he's not in rhythm with his body. So therefore it's a little difficult for him to actually get to the pitch of the ball. So therefore needs to work on his game.
And he has been struggling. So we'll see when we do the next selections for the next series, whether the fans have them in or not. I know on the Facebook page, many have been calling for his head. So let's see what happens there. So Predictor gives him a 2, but George gives him a 5. Next in the order, Nkrumah Bonner. George gave him a 8 as well too.
I gave him a 7. I gave him a 7 and not an 8 because he had one very good score. The other 2 innings were a 0 and I believe 31. So I wasn't going to give him an 8 for that. I think it was a very good innings for that 130 maiden century. So very good from Nkrumah, continuing from his Bangladesh tour. I'm looking forward to seeing much more from him in the future.
All right. So the catch isn't playing there at all.
Yeah, the catch came in, but I'm still. It was a brilliant catch. I'm saying that it could have been better. 7 says you did a good job, but there's room for improvement. 1 innings out of 3. I think he could have given a little more runs. He got out for a duck. Playing a bit across the line. Across the line because he was anticipating the ball to swing away from him, and the ball actually kept its line. So he was unaware of the actual swinging ball. So I'm looking to see how he plays the swinging ball because in Bangladesh there was a lot of spinners. First innings, he was riding his luck a lot. He was wrapped on his pad many times. So I'm not saying that it wasn't a very good knot, but it was still right in the luck, had a little lucky charm. So I can't give him an 8 for that. 7.
So we see how he goes moving forward. All right, then predictor coming on the order. Kyle Mears, big series with both bat and ball, continues to contribute, continues to show some tremendous potential for this test team.
What score did George give him?
All right, boy, George gave him an 8.
I
Predictor,
agree
what
with
say you?
George. I agree with George. I gave him an 8 as well. 201 runs. We scored 250s and 240s, average of 50.25. Overall, he did a very good job. 4 wickets. Consistently scored runs. I still believe that he could have converted one of those scores to a higher score, but it was a good tour for Kyle. It gives us options. A bowler coming off of 5 other bowlers, being the 6th or the 7th bowler within a team is very difficult, and being able to pick up 4 wickets in 2 test matches is a very good accomplishment.
Yeah, man. So I mean that setup on the final day's play was the highlight standout moment. You identified it in Ultra Edge, the other show we do on WicfaTV. So we're looking forward to more from Kyle. That was an excellent contribution once again. Jermaine Blackwood, the vice captain. George gave him a 5 as well too, meaning that he had a decent enough contribution. What say you, predictor?
No, I could not get a 5. 5 is too much too high. I gave him a 2 as well, same as John Campbell. First of all, as people have been asking Craig to contribute as captain, same thing goes as vice captain. His contributions were actually worse than John Campbell. The reason I gave him the same as John Campbell, it was because of that wicket, that plumbing front wicket that the top fan has
That top fan has identified plumbing
yes,
front,
plumbing
sliding down
front, but
leg.
sliding down leg. But for the series, only 42 runs, top score of 18, average of 10.5. Not good enough. So 2 for Jermaine Blackwood.
2 for the vice captain. And on Wickford Facebook page, some guys have also been calling for his head. That's a divisive topic, though. I mean, some say that his contributions before merit his position later on, but we'll get to those in the shows to follow predictor. So coming on the order, the one and only Jason Holder. Massive contribution once again, 5 wickets, excellent average.
What did George give him?
George gave him an 8 as well too. That seems to be the top score there for George.
Well, I gave him an 8.5. My reason for 8.5, which is better than Kyle, he first of all he contributes a significant amount of runs, 138, high score of 71, average of 69. But the thing is, and he also got 7 wickets for the series. But the thing is, we're asking a guy who was just stripped of his post as captain to now come and perform again. And lo and behold, Jason Holder has come once again to be a top performer for West Indies cricket, despite the issue he would have gone through with captaincy. So I gave him the extra mark for being able to overcome that downfall of losing the captaincy and still be able to perform.
Still being able to contribute significantly. All right, so top performance once again from Jason Holder. He goes from stride to stride, really meriting his place within the top 2 all-rounders consistently now in Test cricket. Nothing but positives coming from the predictor and from George. So on we're going on to Joshua Da Silva, wicketkeeper, 2nd series, I believe.
Second, actually 3rd series actually. What did George give him?
George gave him a 7.
I gave Joshua a 6. He scored 67 runs for the series. High score of 46. He had an average of 33.5. The reason I gave him 6, based on that innings where he only scored 1 run from 35 balls, which I thought he could have done a little better to rotate the strike. Also, the drop catch kind of was the time you really need to take the opportunities. So I didn't give him a high mark, but still 6 is still a passing grade. I think he is a working talent that we can use for the future.
Work in progress, yeah, and that short ball tactic against him proved to be very, very effective. So we'll see how he deals with that in his career moving forward.
Correct.
Yeah, but 7 from George. So we move on now to the Alzari Joseph next in the order. Alzari had one of these series that divided the fans on in WICFA. What do you say? George gave him a 6. What say you,
S-
predictor?
6 reflects that Alzari would have passed his grade. I don't agree that Alzari passed the grade. For Alzari, he had 4 wickets, an average of 53, a strike rate of 96, economy of 3.31. He scored 29 runs in 1 innings. Now, the issues I have here: 4 wickets here or there because the wicket wasn't really helping fast bowlers, but he could have done a lot more. That strike rate of 96 needs to be better, taking too long to take a wicket.
Yeah,
And that's
does.
because
But that's
he's,
partly due to wicket to predictor. Partly
yeah,
he
but
can't break.
I think sometimes Alzari is just spread the ball all over the wicket, down the leg side, far wide of the off stump. He isn't really consistent with his line and length. So I think he really needs to work on that. And obviously, an economy of 3.31 means that he has been, much too expensive, especially given that Sri Lanka would have been batting at around two, middle of two, 2.5, 2.7, 2.8 per innings, and having an economy
So
of
just not good
3.3 is
enough for
too.
you. Just not good enough
So
for
I
you.
give him a 4.
Ooh. So
4.
Paul predictor gives Alzari a 4. We'll see how he goes moving forward, what decisions they make, especially given his county stint that's coming up. And we're looking to see, as West Indian fans, the improvements being made there and the strides in his career. Next up, one of my favorite cricketers of late, the one and only Jimbo, Rakeem Cornwall. George has given him a 7 as well too. What say you predict? Consistent with the back of the series though.
I gave him a 7 as well. Very good performance from Rakeem Cowell. 134 runs, 67 average, high score of 73, a very important knock. 4 wickets on a dead wicket for spinners, so it's very good. I think overall a very good performance from Rakeem. Um, there can be arguments that you could get a higher grade, probably 8, but um, for the time being, I think he has room for improvement. So 7 to me is a fair
Fair
rating.
assessment. George agrees with you as well too, and I look forward to seeing him on the field and improving his game as he has been doing and he has done since he has joined the setup with the West Indies senior team. So moving down the order now, we're near the end now. Kemar Roach. George has given him a 7, the same as Rakeem. Only 2 more than Blackwood. We consider his contribution. I'm not sure about that 7, George. What say you, predictor?
Nah, I think Kimar and Jason Holder were the 2 best performers for West Indies. Which was shy, just a little different from Craig Bradford. I gave Kimar 8.5, 9 wickets, average of 23.56, strike rate of 48.67. So that's
On a
basically he was
dead
taking a
wicket.
wicket every 8 overs. A best for 3 for 47. Kemar Rush definitely came at trumps. And I'm going to admit from early, I did not expect Kemar Rush to do as well as he did. I think that he was coming down because he was taking a bit too long to take wickets, especially when he was in the New Zealand series. So I didn't expect him to take wickets on these wickets that we have on in
And
Antigua.
that were there for in Antigua, right? Which were graveyards for many of the bowlers. And finally, rounding up the 11, Mr. Shannon Gabriel. What say you?
So what did George give
George
him?
gave him a 6.
Nah, 6 is way too much.
Yeah, that's only one less than Kimar, considering he took 1 wicket.
Yeah, Shannon Gabriel only took 1 wicket, average 146, a strike rate of 290. So those those statistics really
Yeah,
don't
those
show much
statistics,
of
yeah,
really
yeah, don't really add
what
up to
Shannon
6.
Gabriel really.
So what do you give
Uh,
in there, predictor?
I gave him a 3.5. I gave him more than the Jermaine and the John Campbell because he had some very good spells at points. On although he didn't pick up a wicket, and then he had a drop catch. But still, I think Shannon Gabriel has the issue that Alzari has. I think he spends too long trying to find his own line and length. So then the batsman gets accustomed to him. He Whenever he's bowling short and bowling well, then you can extract some um some good pace from Shannon Gabriel. But I believe that he needs to work on his consistency in his line and length.
Yeah,
Um,
start him
it,
better. I guess that's been the comment in Vic for he needs to start a lot better than he has been starting. And the
Yeah,
fitness seemed to
sometimes
be
you
an
could.
issue again.
Yeah, fitness is an issue. I think for a guy that has been playing for a while, he needs to work on it. This is nothing that, one-off series that fitness has been an issue. He had a fitness issue in England. I think he has some issues in New Zealand, in Bangladesh. So I don't believe that in a two-match test series that you should be breaking down on the second day, on the second test match. If it's the third, maybe the fourth, but
Yeah, it's
in a
far too early.
two-match, far
Yeah,
too early.
that's been the opinion for the fans. So what do you give him?
I give him a 3.5.
3.5. All right then. Predictor. So we come to Phil Simmons and then finally the team. What grade are you giving Uncle Phil on this one?
Uncle Phil gave him 6.5. Reason I give him that grade, he could have done a little better regarding the team selection. For example, I believe Warakan should have started in the second test, especially given the comments that Craig Bradford made at the toss that they were going to bat regardless. And if you're going to bat first, therefore you're going to bowl last on a wicket, you're expecting that you're going to have some deterioration of the wicket,
But
and
but,
therefore
but
that would
really and
assist.
truly, that wicket could have gone for another 10, 15 days
Yeah, but you
with
can predict that
with
at the
yeah,
toss.
with a couple of crowds. Fair enough, fair enough. So you're looking at
So
the
so
tactics
you look
themselves.
at it from out front. So I believe that you should include another spinner at the beginning. Because if we have Blackwood turn the ball square, I believe that you should have included Warkan. Also the declaration, which is a collaboration between the coach and the captain, could have been done a little faster. So I give him a 6.5. I would give him higher if they have won at least one test, or if they put a little more effort in certain areas. But 6.5 is a good effort given
Six and
what
a
West Indies
half.
come from.
That's not bad for Uncle Phil. And finally the team, Paul. Overall team performance out of 10.
6.5 as well. I think we have come to the point where we given the second test series, that we have a little more optimism from the team. We ain't going to the test series thinking, well, this is going to be a 3-day wash off of West Indies. The guys worked to 5 days on 2 consecutive test matches. I think they actually 4 consecutive test matches. They had 5-day
Correct. Many call
tests.
it the Bangladesh story indeed.
Bangladesh store. So this is a significant thing because there are small victories that we have, not having to be bowled out for short periods. We believe we bowled out Sri Lanka in the first test for 169 or 68. That's a very good accomplishment as well. So some really good things to look out for, and I think that it leaves room for improvement.
All right, thank you, dear predictor. This has been by George, the player rating series on the test that recently finished between West Indies and Sri Lanka from Antigua. I'm the Doc, and please subscribe, like, follow us on Twitter, and see if you can join the Facebook group as well and engage in one of the best Facebook cricket fan groups there are out there. Thank you very much again. WicfaTV, Predictor, and Doc out.